There's a mood that an INTJ goes through that most people are unaware of. It's kind of like a fable, a folklore. Documentations of it can be found all over the world, but it lives on as a scary story to tell young INTJs. Some people confuse it for the infamous mood that has halted the cultural takeover of the land of SI by the group known as the Fellowship of NE, the mood known as being unmotivated. But that's not the case. Others suggest that's the same mood that has kept the scientists of Mount TI from conquering the world with their intellect of science and data, the mood known as laziness. But that's also not the case. It's also not the mood that has plagued the land of New FI for the past 1,000 years, the mood known as depression. No, it's none of the above. It's a mood that infiltrates the land of INTJs once every full moon. It strikes in the darkness and disappears as it arrives, with no trace of its existence. So in this video, that mood that I describe, I will refer to it as Mama's out. I know there's a word out there that could probably explain the mood better, but I think this is the funniest. Now back to reality. The topic of this video is to go over a mood that the INTJ knows very well, that most people don't see unless you're very close to the INTJ. And when you see it, it might confuse you, but for an INTJ, it's something that we know all too well. It's a mood in between being unmotivated and in between the NI-FI loop, depression. And it's always very difficult to explain because it's not that the INTJ has lost our motivation, because we're still working, we're still able to accomplish whatever we need to do. It's also not that we lost sight of our goal, because we're still working towards that goal. Nor is it that the INTJ feels differently about that original goal, because we still feel very strongly about it, that we still want to make sure that it's accomplished. The INTJ isn't sad or depressed. We're just kind of tired, but not lazy tired, and not tired to the point where we don't do anything. We're just kind of tired. It's kind of like feeling like a zombie, where we're just going with the flow. We're not very happy, we're not very sad, we're just existing. People with higher emotional vocabulary might know a better word to describe what I'm talking about, but because I'm not sure what that word is, I'm simply going to refer to it as Mama's out. And let me explain why. For the rest of this video, I'm going to explain the mood in the form of a narrative using cognitive functions. The reason why I'm doing this is because it's very difficult to explain it any other way. I tried explaining this in a more expository form and it sounded like it was depression. It's not depression. Trust me when I say it's one of those moods, one of those feelings that's difficult to explain, but you'll know it when you see it. And if you're an INTJ, you'll know it when you go through it. So needless to say, this is going to be one of the more abstract videos that I put out because it's so difficult to put into words. As a refresher, or for those of you who are new to my channel, I refer to all INTJ cognitive functions as a member of a single family. And if you're serious about Myers-Briggs, then you have to understand cognitive functions, because cognitive function is what everything is based off of. The INTJ has 4 cognitive functions: introverted intuition, extroverted thinking, introverted feeling, and extroverted sensing, also known as Papa NI, Mama TE, Auntie FI, or baby SE. The gender of all the cognitive functions don't really mean anything. It's something that I placed on them because it makes sense to myself. And a better explanation of everything could be found in a video I'll post below. For the rest of the video, I'm going to explain all the actions of an INTJ from a perspective of one of the cognitive functions. If that still doesn't make sense, the most simple way I can explain this is that if I say baby or papa is doing something, that means the INTJ is actually doing it. But the reason why they're doing it is based off of one of those cognitive functions. It's like that Disney movie Inside Out. A cognitive function is essentially one of the emotions inside the head of Riley. The way that I imagine what an INTJ goes through when Mama's out is similar to when the head of a household leaves, when they're the one that's typically in charge of cleaning, making sure tasks are complete, and also keeping everything in order. The rest of the family isn't necessarily going to struggle to survive, but they're going to do the bare minimum until Mama returns, because Mama will take care of everything. So in this scenario, Mama extroverted thinking went on vacation, and per usual, Papa introverted intuition lost track of time and didn't realize she was gone. However, Papa introverted intuition started noticing that Mama extroverted thinking was gone the moment that he realized dishes are piling up in the sink, that the bed isn't being made every morning, and the rest of the checklist that Mama extroverted thinking usually takes care of isn't being taken care of. Mama TE left a checklist on the fridge with everything that they need to take care of, but the rest of the family will either ignore it or half-ass any of the responsibilities, because they know that when Mama returns, she'll handle everything. I imagine Mama TE going on a cross-country road trip with her cousin introverted thinking to see the Grand Canyon, or Mama extroverted thinking went on a spa resort date with all her extroverted feeling friends. Mama extroverted thinking is the driving force of an INTJ, so she deserves that break. Extroverted thinking is the glue that keeps the INTJ together. She's the reason why the INTJ accomplishes so much. She's the reason why we get praise. She's the reason why we get anything done in this life. Mama extroverted thinking makes Papa introverted intuition happy, by making sure we can implement some of the plans that he created. She makes Auntie Introverted Feeling happy by working on projects that we actually care about. And she makes Baby Extroverted Sensing happy by getting us the praise on a job well done on any of the projects that we work on. So Mama takes care of almost everything for the INTJ. So what happens when Mama's out? The simplest way to explain what happens to an INTJ when Mama's out is that the INTJ either won't take action or will work on an action and half-ass it, which is obviously different from an INTJ because you could tell how much we care about something because we put a lot of passion into our projects. And similar to most TE types, INTJs have a mental checklist of things we need to check off before we feel at peace in this world. So when Mama's out, it's very difficult to do anything. And when I say do anything, I literally mean it. It is difficult to do anything. Picture this, a living room where Papa NI is laying on the couch on his phone, looking and reading or learning whatever he wants to learn. And then Baby Extroverted Sensing is playing video games, eating Cheetos out of a bag with Cheeto flakes all over his face and toys all over the living room. Living in that situation without cleaning up for one day, that's fine. Living in that situation for 2 days, that's kind of pushing it. But to be in that situation for 3 days without cleaning up once, that will drive Mama Extroverted Thinking crazy. In that situation, Papa Introverted Intuition knows that he should clean up, but he decides not to because he knows he can push it off. And in that similar situation, Baby Extroverted Sensing knows that he can get Papa to do anything because Mama's out of the picture. So during that time frame, they're going to eat a lot of junk food because no one's going to tell them no. During that same time, they're not going to worry about their hygiene because they're not going to go anywhere and no one's going to see them. And during the exact same time, they're going to stay up late playing video games all night because they don't have plans for the next day or anything that they think that they should take care of. So they're going to exhaust all that energy on one project that they're working on that's keeping them up late. It's not that they're burnt out, unmotivated, or lazy. No. It's something way more simple, and honestly something way more stupid. They do it because they can. They do it because Mama isn't there. Throughout all this, Auntie Introverted Feeling checks in from time to time. The purpose of her visits are for the sole purpose of making sure that NI and SE are both alive. They don't need to be motivated, happy, or any other emotions. They just have to be alive and operable. Auntie FI knows that every time TE is out, NI is going to resort to his usual self. His usual self of trying to both exist and not exist in this reality at the exact same time. Whereas she knows that Baby Extroverted Sensing is going to look for any type of external sensation that he can find. Auntie FI checks in to see if NI still cares about the path that he decided for the family, whatever that goal might be. It's always the same. Auntie FI makes sure that Baby Extroverted Sensing is being active. He usually is, regardless of whether it's something that he cares about or if it's something that's going to be a waste of time, as long as he's active. Auntie F5 is not afraid to speak up whenever there's filth around or whenever the INTJs become filthy. And whenever she speaks, the INTJ is going to listen, because INTJs are afraid of Auntie F5. She doesn't come around very often, but when she does, she keeps the boys in line when Mama's out. The family usually doesn't know when Mama's coming back, but she always does, regardless of whether it's a few days, weeks, or a few months. Mama always comes back. And when Mama comes back, she will be revitalized. The INTJ will start looking normal, and then we'll start working on the goal that we originally planned. End of story, now back to reality. I know that story was a bit abstract, but it's honestly how an INTJ feels whenever we're in that mood, whenever Mama's out. Things still get done, but it's performed at a very bare minimum effort. And this feeling overlaps everything. It could be how we operate at work, and it could be how we operate with our friends and family. It's very difficult for a person to tell when an INTJ is in this time frame, because we're still able to operate as normal as possible. We're still going to tell you things that we're thinking. We're still going to tell you how we're motivated. We're just not going to act on it in that moment. And whenever we put on our project, again, it's going to have a lot less effort put into it. And we're going to be way more okay with putting out a project that seems a little less complete compared to the rest of the project that the INTJ normally submits. We're able to meet prior commitments with people. We're still able to engage with our friends and family. We're still going to be able to make dinner on Friday and still laugh at all your jokes. We're just not 100% there. The INTJ is still fully functional and still fully operable. We're just not 100%. And this thought just popped in my head, and I apologize if it offends anyone because it's not supposed to be offensive. Is this how it feels to be an INFJ? Because INFJs have introverted thinking instead of extroverted thinking, and extroverted thinking as part of this video makes us do everything. If this hypothesis is right, INFJs, I don't know how you guys get anything done. To conclude this video, there's a mood that the INTJ experiences from time to time that's very difficult for us to explain, but we know we're going through it when we're going through it. It's not depression, it's not sadness, it's none of those above. And the reason why I can say that it's none of those above is because the INTJ have experienced all those emotions already, and it's not quite that. For those of you who aren't INTJs and watching this video, It's nothing to worry about. It happens pretty often. It doesn't hurt or change the INTJ in any other way. And we usually bounce back from it with more willpower than we originally had to accomplish whatever task that we want to accomplish. So if you're an INTJ or you care about an INTJ and you see them in this mood, don't worry. The INTJ is normal. It's just mama's out. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for this video. I don't have any recommendations on steps on how to get mama back quicker because honestly, I don't know how to do it myself. And if you're an INTJ, mama does so much for you, dude. Let her have her vacation. Let her have her time off. For all you TE users that aren't INTJs, appreciate mama because we're zombies without her. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support this channel. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Bye.